Now for the application questions. So this is when we've been given a problem, a real world type scenario, and we need to use our understanding of algebra and polynomials to be able to solve it. Whenever we're dealing with anything involving volumes, it's always going to be involving a cubic function of some kind. Or any sort of 3D shape. So this is a 3D shape question. We've got an outside surface area of an open box is 75 square centimeters. The base is a square with an edge of x centimeters. Let h be the height of the box. I must draw my pictures first. So here's my lovely box. And I've been told that the base there is a square, so it's all got the same sides. And we've been told the height here is h. Find the surface area of the box in terms of x and h. Now, if you ever see the phrase in terms of, so it means the answers must have x's and h's only. So it can have numbers, but it can't have any other letters. It must have x's and h's. So for the A, we want to find the surface area, so we just need to add up all of these surface areas. So it's an open box, so we don't include the top here. So we've got the base, so the surface area, so is equal to the base, which is x squared, plus the front face here, so the front face is just xh, and then the side, and then the back, and the sort of the right hand side there, which we can neaten up to make that x squared plus 4xh, because xh plus xh plus xh plus xh is in fact 4xh's. So now what we need to do is find h in terms of x. So what we're going to do is that notice here we've got an SA now. We need to replace that with a number because we don't want SAs in our answer, because it says in this next question for B, find h in terms of x. It doesn't say in terms of x and s. So this is where we need to substitute s for some information. And thankfully we've been told that the surface area is 75 square centimeters. So I'm going to put that in there. So now we just need to solve for h. So find h in terms of x. So it has to be that. What that means is h equals some x somewhere. So I'm going to minus x squared on both sides. Minus x squared is equal to 4xh. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 4x. So it's equal to h. Now, the next question there says the volume. Find V in terms of x if V cubic centimeters or centimeters cubed is the volume of the box. So find V in terms of x if V cubic centimeters is the volume of the box. So that's what we're going to do. So volume is, width times length times height. So we know that the base, or it's the area of the base times by the height. So the area, the width and the length, well, that's x squared. And we don't want h's anymore in terms, because this is saying in terms of x, so we'll have to use our answer from before. 75 minus x squared over 4x. And now we also should simplify this as well. So this becomes x squared, 75 minus x squared over 4x. We can cancel out one of these x's, and that's squared there. And so we will get x over 4, 75 minus x squared. Otherwise, or you can write that as 1/4 x, 75 minus x squared. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. D, find the volume when we substitute these particular values in. So for D, so V when x is 2, so if we call that V of x, shall we say, so this is going to be 1/4 times by 2 times by 75 minus 2 squared, and that will get us, so that's just going to be, well, 1/4 of 2 is going to make that a half times by 71, and that's going to make that, we can just leave that 71 over 2 cubic centimeters, or otherwise obviously you could have put that, what's that, 35.5 cubic centimeters. The second one's asking for x equals 5, so 1/4 times 5, so 75 minus 5 squared, and that's going to get us into 350 over 4, which would be equal to 175 over 2 square centimeters. And then the last one is x equals 8. So I'm just substituting 1/4 times 8, 75 minus 8 squared. Actually, I want to just double check that one. I don't think that's right. I don't think that v times 5 is right. 75 minus 5 squared is going to be 25. So that's 50. You know what? I don't think that's right at all. 75 minus 5 squared is going to be 75 take away 25. 75 take away 25 is going to be, what, 50? 50 times 5, so that's 250. So 250 over 4. And so we can simplify that down to make that, in fact, actually, I think we can simplify that supremely. So that's, what's that going to be? No, actually we can't. That's unfortunate. 1, 2, 5 over 2. Yeah, 125 over 2. There we go. And then we've got 1/4 times 8. So that's going to be 2 times by 75 minus 64. So that's going to be 1. 2 times 11? That sounds about right. So 64, 5 take away 4 is going to be 1. Yeah, it says 2 times 11, so that's going to be 22 cubic centimeters. There we go. Wonderful. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the next question. It says, given that v equals 59 when x equals 4, find the other value for x for which v is equal to 59. All right, so what we're going to do is we need to solve this. Now, I will grant you that this will be better done. This would be a typical calculator-enabled question. But because we should always try to exercise our mental brains, we'll just make sure that we will do this by hand. So for E, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this equation, the cubic equation, equal to 59. So x on 4, 75 minus x squared is equal to 59. Because we don't want to deal with fractions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to times both sides by 4. I get x times 75 minus x squared is equal to 236. And then what I'm going to do is expand this bracket, so it's becomes 75x minus x cubed is equal to 236. And then what we're going to do is we're going to minus the 236 on both sides. And we get negative x cubed plus 75x minus 236 is equal to 0. Now, I've been told that when x is equal to 4, then this cubic will be definitely equal to 59, and that will work. So therefore, I can say now that in this version that x minus 4 is a factor, because we know that 4 can fit in very, very nicely. So what I'm going to do is do exactly that. So I'm going to divide. So we have been told x minus 4 is a factor. Okay, so we'll divide accordingly. Now, again, this is going to be one of those instances where we're going to need to put a 0 thing in here. 75x minus 236, x minus 4. Because, so that we have that complete. So x goes into negative x cubed, negative x squared times. Negative x squared times by x is negative x cubed. Negative x squared times by negative 4 makes that positive 4x squared. Minus that. 0x squared minus 4x squared is going to be negative 4x squared. Bring down that 75x. Negative 4x squared divided by x, well, that's going to be negative 4x. Negative 4x times by x is negative 4x squared. Negative 4x times by negative 4 is going to be positive 16x. Minus that. 75 minus 16 is going to make that 59x. Minus 59x. We'll bring that 236 down. X goes into 59x 59 times. 59 times x is 59x. 59 times negative 4 is negative 236. And we get 0. So we now know that we can get, so the factorized form at the moment looks like this. So our objective here is we're trying to break that second one into brackets, because we already know that when x equals 4 we get this lovely answer. We now need to turn this huge quadratic here into the other two possible results accordingly. So now it's not going to be nice, it's not going to be pretty, but we're going to have to complete the square on this friend. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the minus out, and I'm just going to complete the square here. So we're going to plus 4 over 2 squared minus 4 over 2 squared minus 59 minus 59. That's going to become x plus 2 squared minus, this is going to become 59, take away negative 4 over 2 squared, so that's going to be negative 4, so that's negative 63. So that becomes, and we'll make that into a big bracket here, x plus 2 minus square root of 63, x plus 2 plus square root of 63, and I think you'll find here that we can have two possible answers here. So x plus 2, so it's either x plus 2 minus square root of 63 equals 0, or x plus 2 plus square root of 63 equals 0. X will equal to negative 2 plus square root of 63, or x is equal to negative 2 minus square root of 63. I've just minused them on both sides. I've got to say though, that won't be a thing. Why is that? Because we're dealing with measurements, and you can't have a negative measurement. You can't have a negative side. So therefore the other answer here that we've got here, it would be negative 2 plus square root of 63, which would actually, if we want to neaten that down, it's going to be 3 root 7. which, if you use your calculator, will be approximately 5.94 centimeters. So, therefore, the value of x, we should always use exact values. That is the other value that we would get if we wanted to get a volume of 59 cubic centimeters.